Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Let's talk about temporary disability pre-stabilization rating from the VA. So with that, we're going to dive into it. I'm going to read this to you, share the information with you, guide you to the right places. Hit the thumbs up for me, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. If you're not a member, consider joining. It does help the channel, and I do my best to get back to you guys in the comments. Thank you so much for all of your support. I really appreciate it. All right, so let's jump into this temporary disability pre-stabilization rating. If you recently ended your active military service and you have a disability related to your military service, you may be eligible for temporary disability compensation for benefits right away. Now that's important, right? So let's move on. If you qualify, you'll get what's called a pre-stabilization rating. This means that the rating may be 50 or 100% depending on the severity of your disability. Goes on to say, you may be eligible for disability benefits if you receive or if you recently ended your active military service. And I don't know what the time frame is. I think it's 1 year. We'll see. I can't remember off the top of my head. So I hate when they just leave that off, especially at the beginning. I'm pretty sure it's a year. We'll find out. So you may be eligible for these disability benefits if you recently ended your active military service and you meet both of these requirements listed here. Both of these must be true. You have a service-connected disability that is unstable, meaning an injury or illness that will change or hasn't yet fully been treated. And your doctor expects you to have this disability for an unknown amount of time. How long does a pre-stabilization rating stay in effect for? If you get a pre-stabilization rating, it will be in effect for 1 year after your discharge from service. Okay, so what does that mean? That sounds to me as though you can file for it anytime after you exit service, up to 1 year, really, because at 1 year it would end. So because you could have it for up to 1 year. So the sooner the better would be the idea with this with regard to your exiting from service. What kind of disability benefits can I get? You may be able to get temporary disability compensation for benefits right away. Here's an example. And here's the thing. Look, this might not apply to you. In fact, most likely it doesn't. But imagine if for a moment you were the service member that was getting out and you had no clue about this type of stuff and you didn't find out about it until years later. It would have been nice to know today. You watching this is what's going to help push this information out to others that are searching. I'm getting out of the military. What can I get for benefits? All right, here's the example. While in active service, a service member was diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease and began chemotherapy and continued during and after her medical discharge process. She continued to get treatment through her local VA medical center, and we, the VA, gave her a pre-stabilization rating of 100% for a year from her date of discharge. Okay, so because she filed for it before the 1 year mark of the 1 year anniversary of her discharge, they would back pay her to the discharge date. A lot of people aren't even aware of this. When you get out of the military, if you did not file a benefits delivery at discharge claim during your military time, that 3 to 6 month window prior to discharge, if you did not do that and you got out and then you filed a claim 6 months later, the VA is going to look at your day after discharge as your effective date. Essentially, they're saying, we're giving you an intent to file, a free intent to file, date stamped the day after your discharge, and they're giving you a 1 year time frame to file your claim, and they'll preserve that as your effective date. All right, moving on. How do I get these benefits? You can file a claim online now for a pre-stabilization rating. You can also file by mail, in person, or help with a trained professional. My suggestion is always work with an accredited representative. It's a second set of eyes. Make sure the T's are crossed, I's are dotted. You signed in the right spots. And then they also have the ability to peek into the VA system on your behalf to make sure things are happening like they should. It's a good resource to have, so I suggest work with an accredited rep, but you can always do it by yourself. You could do it online. You could print out forms, do it yourself. So there's a notation here. It says, when you file, you'll have to show that you have a severe service-connected disability that's unstable and that is unstable and expected to continue for an unknown amount of time. This information will normally be part of your service treatment record. All right, if you have any questions regarding that, you can always call the VA and ask them as well. And you can call their 800 number at 800-827-1000. 800-827-1000. Now, for those that are interested in this type of stuff, especially the pre-stabilization rating and then also temporary rating as well, if you have a service-connected condition and you are not rated at 100%, and you have to get some sort of a surgery that lays you up and you have to be on bed rest for a certain amount of time, a month, 2 months, 3 months, you got a major thing going on, you can file for temporary 100%. This is a very, very, very important benefit that a lot of people are not aware of. You just go in and you get your treatment, you get your surgery, whatever it is, and you move on. But you need to be aware that there is this benefit out there. If you are at 40% rating, for example, for a bad hip or knee and some other issues going on, and you go in and you get a surgery on that, and the doctor says, look, we need to make sure you're fully healed. We need to see you walking around and doing things, and you got to go to physical therapy and all this type of stuff, and you can't return to your day-to-day life. Really look at doing that, because it'll bump you from that 40% up to 100%. So for an example, a veteran with a spouse and no dependent children at 40% is $838.28 per month as the disability compensation, which is great, right? But if you file for that temporary 100%, all of a sudden it goes from that to $3,946.25. Now, obviously, you have COLA that's going to come into effect, and so that will change with the January payment. But right now, as of October 2024, you'd be at $3,946.25, which is about $3,100 more than being at the 40% rating for whatever it is. If you need a 2-month time frame, let's say that there's some sort of heaven forbid, right? But let's say that you go in, it's supposed to be a month and a half, 2 months, you get this, the doctor says, hey, we had some sort of delay in progress, we need to do something different, we need to go back in and fix something else, whatever it is. Again, hopefully not the case, but stranger things have happened, and you need to push it out. You could get up to 6 months. Typically, it's up to 3. Then you can essentially take a knee, adjust fire. If you need to put in again, they can sometimes do up to another additional 3 months. So important information to know. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.